Hello chums, welcome back. Today we're going to look at all of the rifles I have ever reviewed in quick succession. Alright, so I've broken this into three categories. The first category we'll go through is all our little rimfire guns. Then I've got all the repeaters, so like lever actions, pump actions, etc. And then we have our bolt actions. So, let's jump straight into it. The first rifle we'll talk about is the Remington Fieldmaster. It's pump action 22. You can fit, I believe off the top of my head, 15 rounds of 22 long rifle in the tube mag or 20 rounds of 22 shorts. Something like that. Look, good fun little gun, not very accurate. I think the best group I ever got out of it at 30 meters was about the size of my face. So for a rabbit gun, pretty shithouse. However, you know, it's a fun gun. Take from that what you will. I wouldn't buy a new one. I bought a new one. It was $1,500 and immediately I had to send it back to get the firing pin replaced because it was broken and there was a part of the stamping on the receiver was a bit out of whack. So not the best gun in the world, but still a fun rifle. Hunter. Alright, the next rifle is the Savage B22. I have the FV-SR version. The FV stands for something or other, and the SR stands for suppressor ready, which means it's got a threaded muzzle, which for Australians is pretty fucking useless. Thanks. Very accurate rifle. I do enjoy it. It has an 18-inch barrel, so it's quite handy. Is it 18 or is it 16? Might even be a 16-inch barrel. My bad. Fairly accurate. At 100 meters, I'm getting groups of about yay. That's with 22 mag, which is notoriously not very accurate when you compare it to 22 long rifle, so that's pretty good. I really do like that rifle. Short and handy, and yeah, good. Next one is the CZ515, the lever release. It is an accurate rifle, however, the triggers in them are rubbish. Even the 512, which is what it's based off, is notoriously known for having a rubbish trigger. Obviously the 515 being the Australian version with the lever release added into the trigger mech. Yeah, it is a good rifle. I believe that lever release guns are kind of on the gimmicky side of things because I don't really see a need for them. But yeah, that's my opinion. They are a good rifle, they are accurate, they're well made. The tactical version with the fore-end thing is apparently gash. Bolt Action Productions did a really good review on that. He said it was terrible. I've had a few other people tell me that that version is terrible as well. So if you're going to buy one, maybe stick to the American version, which is the walnut stock. The last rimfire rifle we'll talk about is the Ruger American Rimfire. It is what it is. It's a good little handy gun. I'll put it in the exact same category as the Savage B22. They're both synthetic stocks. They're both, you know, they're just little 22s, they're accurate. There's not much you can really talk about rimfires. Either you have one or you don't. Everyone knows rimfires aren't that accurate. Yeah, that's rimfires. Alright, moving on to our repeaters. The first one is the Marlin 336. I had the Marlin 336Y. However, I have used a lot of different Marlins over the years, like 1894s, 1895s, what was the one before the 336? The 36 Alpha? Something like that. They're all pretty good. Marlins are Marlins. If you are going to buy a Marlin, get an older one, as in pre-Remington, or a newer one, being Ruger, because they're amazing. Don't get a Remington Marlin. I had a Remington Marlin, and a few people said, no, they're crap, and at first, it wasn't crap. And then I realised it was. The finish is terrible. The fit and finish is just absolutely rubbish. But for what it is, it was a good rifle. The Citadel LevTac 92. This is literally just a Winchester 92 that they put some tactical bullshit on and added a safety to it. It is what it is. Pretty cool, fun little gun. It's short. It's very, very light. So if you're into plinking or you maybe pig hunting, it might be alright for, depending on what cartridge you get it in. It is pistol cartridges only, so 44 mag, 357 and 38 special. Yeah, fun little gun. Remington 7600 and the 7615. Back when I first started hunting, in the group I was with, if you didn't have a 7615, you were fucking doing it wrong. That was for pig hunting out west. These days, not many people use the 7600 and 7615 from what I've seen. I do see hound hunters though with 7600s a fair bit because of their quick fire with being a pump action. In the 7600 you can get, I think, 243, 308, 3006, 35 Whalen. There might be a couple other cartridges there. In the 7615 I think it's mainly 556 NATO, 223 Remington, which I think now that chambering together is called 223 Wild. You might want to Google that. Cool little guns. They are very heavy for what they are, so bear that in mind. It's not a lightweight stalking rifle or a mountain rifle, but they're quick fire and yeah, pretty good. I enjoy them. Last of the repeaters is the Rossi Circuit Judge. It is a revolving carbine repeater, so it looks like a pistol, but it's not. It's got a 16-inch barrel and a rubbish stock. Look, they're very good fun to play with. I wouldn't use one for hunting personally, but if you're into plinking, you're out in the farm and you want to shoot a couple of cans and you want to spend all of the money to buy a Rossi Circuit Judge, go for it. They don't make them anymore and they're not imported anymore. So the ones that are in Australia are the only ones that are here. There is another company, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, which have started to import a new version. There's another company making them now, or making something very similar, so keep an eye for those if that's what you're into. I'm sure you'll find one or two if you keep your little peepers open. And that finishes off our repeaters. So let's move on to our centerfire bolt actions. This is where my preference is. I'm a big bolt action fan because I find them better for hunting. Alright, let's start with a couple of Remingtons. So the Remington 783, mixed reviews on these. From what I've seen, the long barrel versions, the barrels that come with, I think they're 22 or 24, absolutely rubbish. The 783s with the shorter barrels, 16-inch barrels in Australia, they're called the Jackaroo. They are actually very accurate, but for some reason the longer barrel versions aren't. So riddle me that, Batman. So I really like the receivers on the Remington 783. They are a good contender for a build, which is why I rebarreled mine to 358. Some things they do have over the Remington 700s. They have a floating bolt head. They have an easier bolt and firing pin to disassemble. The receiver is stronger because it's fully enclosed as opposed to the open top of the Remington 700. The drawback is you can't use Remington 700 rings and bases. Obviously, they're the most popular in the world. So finding them can be a bit of a drama. However, it does take two front Remington 700s. So for some reason, if you couldn't find the rings you wanted, you could buy two sets of Remington 700 whatevers and just use two of the fronts for the front and back of the 783, and that would fit. So anyway, Remington 783, it's a good get on it. Remington 700, I'm not going to say too much about it. Everyone knows what Remington 700 is. Everyone knows they're a good rifle, not particularly the latest ones that have come out because Remington's sort of gone down the gurgler. But they're a great rifle to build off, as in do a custom build off. You can get a plethora of aftermarket stocks and triggers and rings and bases and pretty much anything aftermarket you want to buy, you can buy it for Remington 700, which is why they're still so popular. If you're looking for a rifle to buy a Remington 700. The Ruger M77, also known colloquially as the Mark 1, even though that's not the official name, and also the Tang Safety because it has a Tang Safety. If you wanted to be more correct, you would just call it a Ruger M77, and then if it's a Mark II, then you would call it a Mark II, and then if it's a Hawkeye, you would call it a Hawkeye, just so you know. Great rifle. I had two of them. I had one in 308, and I had one in 7 Rem Mag. I did like both of those rifles. The reason I moved them on is because I didn't like having wooden stocks for my hunting rifles, because I really, really enjoy a good wooden stock. And because I enjoy a good wooden stock, I don't want to wreck a good wooden stock. And when I hunt, I want to be able to drop my rifle and bang it around in the bush and do all sorts of shit and not worry about what I'm doing to the nice rifle. So I moved them on so someone else could enjoy them a bit more than me. Fantastic rifle. They have a Mauser style extractor. Although they are not control round feed, they are technically control round push feed. So they feed push feed. You can single load it from the top normally. It has a ejector post and a Mauser style extractor, so it's a bit of a weird design there, or weird by today's standards, but it's very good action. A lot of people say that you can't rebarrel them. I don't know why people say that, because you fucking can. The reason why people say you can't is because it's injection molded receiver, which is then milled, whereas most are a billet, like a forged billet that they would then mill down. Either way, they're both technically forged to start with, so I don't fully understand why people think that the M77 receiver is more brittle than others. I don't know, although I have heard of one or two of them breaking on removing a barrel, but I think that's also from incorrect use of the tools. Anyway, moving on. They're a good rifle. If you want something a little bit more old school, get one of them. Particularly, I can't remember the nuanced little sub-models off the top of my head, but the one that comes in 458 Winchester, if you can find one of those, one, they're pretty rare, and two, pretty fun. So get on that. Oh, this next rifle. I fucking hate this next rifle with a burning passion. I have it listed on my YouTube channel as the worst rifle. That's the title of the whole video. The worst rifle. It is the Mossberg Patriot / Mossberg MVP. Pretty much the same thing, same receiver, slightly different bolt head. The MVP's got a slightly different bolt head, so I can use AICS mags, etc., etc. This rifle was so shithouse that I can't even put into words how much I hate it. Although it seems to be that a lot of the people in the comments, particularly Americans, are saying that it's a fantastic rifle. I beg to differ. I think there are much better rifles out there than this one. You pretty much look at any Mossberg Patriot review. In fact, go and watch the review that, pretty sure his name is Jim at Backfire. He did an excellent review on the Mossberg Patriot, and he slagged it all the time because it's rubbish. And yeah, my take on the MVP was, it was too heavy. The bolt is the sloppiest bolt I've ever seen in my life. It didn't feed well. It wasn't very accurate. You know, the list goes on. Go and watch that video. You'll probably have a good chuckle, because sometimes I go a bit over the top, and sometimes I say things just to get a rise out of people. So go and watch that video because it's pretty funny. And I think it's got like 15,000 views or something ridiculous. Let me have a look. It has 11,000 views currently, so go and pump that number up and go and read the comments because they're hilarious. And yeah, you can see some Americans losing their minds over me slagging off that rifle. The next rifle is a very good one. I do enjoy it quite a lot. The Mauser M18. It is a fantastic rifle. If you want a good hunting rifle, just go and buy a Mauser M18. They're cheap. They're a hell of a lot cheaper than a lot of the other hunting rifles out there. I think at the moment they're going for about $800-ish, give or take. Which is pretty bloody good for a very, very good rifle. It cycles amazingly. It has like a 50 or 60 degree bolt lift, which is fuck all. Really well made barrels. Essentially the barrel action is a Sauer 101 or a Sauer 100, because Sauer and Mauser are all owned under the Blaser group, and they're all made at the same factory. So there you go. You're pretty much buying a Sauer for half the price. The stocks are a little bit janky, especially with that gimmicky butt pad that comes off and you can store your fucking weed in there or whatever you want to do. But for the most part, the rifle is pretty bloody good, and it does take Remington 700 scope rings and bases, so that will save you the heartache of trying to find something that you normally would not find. So, Mauser M18, get on it, it's a bloody good rifle. The Tikka T3X, I don't need to introduce that rifle. Everyone knows the Tikka T3X. They're starting to become very popular in America. They've been popular in Australia and New Zealand for a very long time, starting with the Tikka T3 and then now into the T3X. If you want to see a video on the differences between a T3 and a T3X, leave it in the comments because I've got one of each in the safe and I'll be able to do that for you. If you want a rifle and you don't want to have to do anything to it, buy a Tikka T3X. And then if you want to buy a rifle and you want to do a heap of things to it aftermarket wise, there's support for it these days, so buy a Tikka T3X. You will not be disappointed with that rifle, and that disgusts me that I've said that because I used to hate the hype about those. I used to hate it with a burning passion. I used to think, there's nothing that special about it, until I owned one, and now I think they are absolutely fantastic. So they've turned me around, they might turn you around too. This one, the Steyr Mannlicher Pro Varmint. and we'll lob this in with the Pro Hunter because they're almost the same thing. The Pro Varmint has a different profile barrel and a different bolt handle, but the receivers are the same. The stocks are pretty much the same as well. It's very heavy, I'll give it that. It's 3.9 kilos for the Pro Varmint, which that's just the... I've dropped my bloody pen. That's just the rifle, not anything else. That's not scope rings, that's not anything else. It's just the fucking rifle. It's very heavy, but for what it's designed for, varmint hunting where you're not carrying it around, probably pretty bloody good. It is very accurate. The trigger is absolutely amazing on the varmint version. It has a set trigger that you push forward and oh, it is so nice to fire. Even with that set trigger, it breaks, I think, around 1.8 pounds, 1.9 pounds. It's very light. The hair trigger, the set trigger on it, is something ridiculous like a point something of a pound. Yeah, it's almost too light. When I fire it, I have to ride my finger across the top of the bottom of the stock, so the top of where the trigger is. So I can feel something because as soon as you touch the trigger, it's going off. So if you don't know how to fire with one of those triggers, maybe you need to learn and don't do it with a big caliber to start with. Anyway, it's a very good rifle. The stock, I absolutely hated the design of the stock. I think it is the most ugly thing in the world ever, and that goes for all the other Steyr stuff like Steyr Scouts and all that. I think they're absolutely horrendous. Some people like them though. The safety on them is amazing. It's a tame safety, but it's a rolling tumbler where you have like a push button. If you lock that, it will lock the bolt. Push button to go to safe, and then you have a fire position as well. So the safety's good. The bolt's really good. It's very slick. The receiver's awesome. Trigger is immaculate. Barrels are very good. It's a very accurate rifle. For me, I think they're ugly as all fuck, and they're very heavy. So pros and cons there. And the last rifle we'll cover off on in this quick little rundown, which isn't so quick, it's probably about 20 fucking minutes, is the Beretta Bear X1, the straight pull rifle. I think it's very quick, it's very slick, it's very cool, very heavy. I think it's also around 3.9 kilos without a scope. For what it's designed for, it's very good. And what it is designed for is driven hunting, standing still, and you're firing rapidly at wild boar going past and deer and whatnot. If you're a hound hunter, you might want to look into the Bear X1 because it might be right up your alley for a quick succession of fire. It is very accurate. I like the mags, they're blaze orange, so if you drop it in the bush, you're going to find it very easily. I don't like the safety on it. I like where it is, I like where they're going with that. It's very sour-esque and also blazer sort of thing, which is, they're pretty much trying to be a cheaper version of a blazer. But it's very stiff on that particular rifle. Maybe it was just the version that I trialed, but I didn't particularly like it. I've had people say in the comments that they do, and it's not as stiff as what I'm making it out to be, so maybe that one is just incredibly stiff. All in all, the Beretta Bear X1 is a very dandy rifle, so you may enjoy that, and if you're looking for a straight pull that doesn't break the bank, that would probably be it. I would probably steer clear of the Savage Impulse. I know I did a video of like, oh my god, I really want this rifle, until I played with one and I went, oh, this is a bit poo. It looks a hell of a lot better in the video than it does in person. It's not as smooth as the Beretta Bear X1. It's very gritty in its bolt. That may polish out, maybe, but I really don't like the fact that you have to rotate that bolt handle to lock and unlock. That adds extra time to your bolt throw. For me, it just doesn't work. I like the version that the Beretta has, where essentially it has a bolt out of a semi-automatic with a camming system on top of the bolt and a cam keyway, which will then rotate it for you. So it makes it incredibly easy. Yeah, so I like the Beretta Bear X1. I think it's very cool. So, mofos, that's my rundown of all of the rifles that I've reviewed since I've been running this channel, which has been about 3 years-ish. So, I hope you got something out of that. If you're not subscribed, you should bloody well be subscribed. Maybe consider liking, maybe don't, because it doesn't actually show you for dislike anymore. So if you do that, then I won't even fucking know about it. The best thing you can do though is leave a comment, because that actually helps the algorithm. The more the algorithm knows the video is getting liked and commented on more than likes, it's going to show it up more in other people's feeds. I get more views, I get paid more money, I get more subs, I get paid more money. Cash. So, if you want to support the channel, hit Patreon, link in the description, patreon.com/fuckoutdoors. I don't have a website, well, I do have a website still while this video is being recorded, but it's going to get fucked off. There's more things in the pipeline. Anyway, enough rabbiting. Hope you got something out of that. I really enjoy doing these quick, half an hour bloody rundown videos. I'm going to do a couple more of these, so if you like that, hit subscribe. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Have a good one. Catch you next video, and hooroo.